and gentlemen, and welcome to Modern Life is Goodish. I'm Dave Gorman. I've got a laptop, a remote control, and a big screen. And this evening, I want to talk about superlatives. What I want to start by talking about is superlative abuse. And when I say that, I don't mean abuse that is really well achieved, topo, bravo, congratulations to you, sir, on your abuse. I don't mean that. Not like that time when Mrs. Gorman sighed and said, "Why is Katie Hopkins on TV? She's like a weird experiment where a blind person's been asked to paint Princess Diana onto a racist horse." It's not like that. I don't mean like that, no. It's one of those phrases, isn't it? A bit like where people say, make poverty history. Yeah? I mean, I know that it means make poverty a thing of the past, but every time I hear it, I think someone must have done something really memorable in the world of poverty. Never before has a politician done so much to drag so many into lives of squalor. He really is making poverty history there, Brian. What I mean by this is the abuse of superlatives. The abuse of the superlative adjective, and immediately I say that, I can feel a few people thinking, oh no, he's going to be one of those grammar Nazis, isn't he? And now I feel a few people thinking, what's a grammar Nazi? So for those who don't know, this is a grammar Nazi. This is the kind of thing I'm talking about. This is a typical tweet from a grammar Nazi. It really isn't that difficult to use correct spelling and grammar. Be professional and disciplined in everything that you do for the cause. That's a grammar Nazi, and I can feel a few people think, well, it's not that bad. But what you've got to bear in mind is that was a tweet from the American Nazi Party. So that really is the purest form of grammar Nazi. Not sure purist is the wisest word to use when you're talking about those people. It plays into their own ideas in some way. Now, what I mean, anyway, is I want to defend the true meaning of superlative adjectives. Now, for those who don't know what I'm talking about, tall is an adjective, okay? Taller is the comparative adjective. You use it to describe one thing compared to another. Tallest is the superlative adjective, and they mean different things. You use tall to describe someone who is tall. Nobody would describe, say, Ronnie Corbett as tall, yeah? But you might describe him as, for example, taller than Tom Cruise. You might. You might. Because that's what the comparative adjective is for. But tallest is the superlative adjective, and you use it to describe something that is taller than everything else in its class or group. And these are the type of words that I think are often misused. They are especially abused by marketing people because marketing people are always trying to persuade you that their goods are the best. For example, you get a word like fresh, fresher, freshest. You know, you've got your fresh Prince of Bel-Air, your fresher Prince of Bel-Air, and ultimately the freshest Prince of Bel-Air. But freshest is a word that is often abused. You often see it, for example, in the phrase, we use only the freshest ingredients. And that looks like a good thing, doesn't it? You see that on a chalkboard outside a nice cafe, and you think, oh, that looks nice. They use only the freshest ingredients. But that's not what they should be doing, is it? It's not what we do at home, is it? Work from the back. That's how you do it at home, isn't it? Yeah? Let's, for example, right? Say you've got 2 boxes of eggs, right? Now, this box has been in the fridge for a week. Still got a couple of eggs in it. You don't want to run out, so you bought a new box of eggs this morning. Now, all of these eggs are fresh, but these eggs are the freshest. If you only use the freshest ingredients, these are the eggs you'll be using. Anyone with an ounce of sense would use these eggs first. They're fresh, they're not the freshest. You don't want to throw them away. If you're advertising that you use only the freshest ingredients, you're basically advertising that you willfully throw away perfectly good food. That's going to put your costs up, isn't it? You're going to pass that on to the consumer in more expensive stuff. If you'd concentrated at catering college, you'd have done the module on stock management and you would have known all about this. And I don't want my omelette cooked by someone who didn't concentrate at catering college, all right? Of course, the thing is, they don't really mean we use only the freshest ingredients. What they really mean is we use only fresh ingredients. But that doesn't sound like much of a boast, does it? No, honestly, we never use anything that's off. Like, greatest is another one of these words that is often abused. You often see it abused when it's paired up with the word hits. How often do you see the phrase greatest hits with something like that, previously unreleased track? Well, hang on a minute. A hit record is a successful record. It's a record that lots of people have bought. And if it hasn't been released yet, then nobody's bought it, and so it isn't a hit, so it shouldn't be on the Greatest Hits album. This is an industry-wide problem. They all do it. This is from The NME. My Chemical Romance, Greatest Hits album coming in March, features previously unreleased track. What that means is, Greatest Hits album coming in March, features non-hit. It's obvious, isn't it? Simple Minds announce career-spanning Greatest Hits LP and tour, say Strange Ways Radio, with 2 new songs, which means with 2 non-hits. This was Scouting for Girls on their own Facebook page. Our Greatest Hits album, 10 years in the making, is now available to pre-order right now. Now, let's not get hung up on that tricky clause there with its very confusing mix of immediacy and pre-immediacy and then more immediacy. Do it now, before now, right now. Don't let that cloud your judgment as we contemplate the main detail here, which is the extra tracks. Features 2 brand new tracks, Millionaire and Make That Girl Mine, and there are the details, there's the links and so on. They all do it. Of course, you don't have to call your album Greatest Hits. You could just call it Best Of. Best Of is an opinion. Greatest Hits means most successful, and so that's not an opinion because that can be measured. Greatest Hits is a matter of fact. In fact, for ourselves, let's just establish for ourselves a working definition of hit. Okay? If this represents the top 100, and I think it's fair to assume that outside of that is definitely non-hit territory. Nobody's going to be getting to 198 in the charts and calling it a hit, are they, right? So we'll talk about the top 100. Now, obviously, number 1 is a hit, isn't it? Everyone would say that. You'd be pretty churlish if you denied that something in the top 10 was a hit. So we'll start with top 10. Everyone just raise a hand, and as I go through, lower your hands when you see the point at which you think it's no longer a hit. So raise a hand. Okay? Now, we all think top 10's a hit. Everyone's got their hands up. Top 20, still a hit. Pretty broad agreement. Top 30, a few people coming down at that point. The top 40, that's always still a fair few. Top 50. So top 40 was kind of the group agreement on what constitutes a hit. Top 40 is a hit. And that's interesting, isn't it? So let's have a look then at the Scouting for Girls Greatest Hits album, ladies and gentlemen, and see how many of the 15 tracks on this album were genuinely hits according to this audience. And I'll tell you what, we'll do that when we come back from this short break. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Modern Life is Goodish, where we have been discussing the way the phrase greatest hits is so often abused by the record industry, and we were about to examine the Scouting for Girls Greatest Hits album to see how many of its 15 tracks genuinely qualified as hits. So let's have a look at the album. There it is, and here are the 15 tracks that are on it. Let's separate those, move those down there, and then take the top 6 up there. And I say the top 6, ladies and gentlemen, because the first 6 singles on this compilation are all from their first studio album, which was released in 2007, and as you can see, was named after the band and featured this rather pleasant artwork. So how did the first 6 singles fare in the charts? Well, there they all are. Let's see how the chart positions went. Obviously, the first single there, She's So Lovely, that's probably the most famous one, isn't it? That She's So Lovely, She's So Lovely, She's So Lovely, that one. And they were all, the first 3, they were hits. We decided that top 40 is what constitutes a hit. They had 3 top 10 singles right out of the gate. That is an amazing achievement. Well done to them. 3 top 10 singles straight away. That's a success story. It was followed by a 31 and then a 40. Oh, look at that. It's a hit, but it's in off the woodwork, isn't it? Yeah? But it is a hit. I Wish I Was James Bond does qualify. And then the final single they released from that album got to 198. 198, and it's on the Greatest Hits album? Blimey! Now, there were 2 more studio albums. There was 2010's Everybody Wants to Be on TV, with its more colourful artwork there, and then the 2012 release, The Light Between Us, which is my favourite of the artwork designs they had there, ladies and gentlemen. So here are the tracks from those 2 albums. The first single from the second album, that was their biggest hit. It got to number 1, ladies and gentlemen. You know that. This ain't a love song. That's the, you know, She's So Lovely, She's So Lovely. She's So Lovely, that one. But then the others, the kind of law of diminishing returns kicks in, and you can see it slides away a little bit. Don't be fooled by the X's, by the way. They mean did not chart, unless you're Roman, in which case, congratulations on 2 more top 10s. And then there's the 2 extra songs that they've added on at the end there as well. Now, this is interesting, because what they've done is they've put them on the album in chronological order of release, which seems odd to me, given this post on their Facebook page. Hello again. We're incredibly proud and excited to share our greatest hits album. Track 1 will be She's So Lovely, and we'll be announcing the track listing exclusively via Facebook and Twitter each day next week. And when you say you're going to announce something exclusively on social media each day, bit by bit, drip by drip, doesn't that kind of suggest that there is some mystery and intrigue to it? That you might have constructed some kind of narrative arc or bounced around between the albums? When you read that, aren't you supposed to think, oh, I wonder what they've included, and I wonder what order they're in? Eh? Well, it turned out the answer was every single we've ever released and in the order we released them in. That's like a font designer saying, I've come up with a brand new font. The first letter's going to be an A. And I'll reveal which other letters I've done and in what order I'm arranging them exclusively over the next 25 days. What's it going to be? Now, it should be fairly obvious from the get-go that if a greatest hits album is to be as advertised and contain only greatest hits, then these songs have to go. They do not meet your chosen criteria of what is a hit. Now, some people, they get upset about this. They think there was a song I liked there, and now it's gone, and that makes me sad. I wanted to enjoy that. That's a song I liked. I liked listening to it. That doesn't make it a hit, does it? It's not as advertised, is it? For example, right, if you go to the shop to buy a box of eggs, and you get home, right, and you open the box up and it looks like that, you think, I've been conned there, they're not eggs. And if you went back to the shopkeeper and said, hang on, those aren't eggs, and he went, so what? You can still eat them. That's not as advertised, is it? And incidentally, it's just worth checking this. Can you all see that there's a lemon and a lime there? At the back, can you see at the back? I just want to make sure it's reaching. You can see the difference between them at the back. There's a yellow and a green one. That's interesting. It's interesting, actually, because I live in Hackney, in East London. I cycle past this chicken restaurant 4 or 5 times a week, and it... It's been doing my nutting, that has, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that. I know you can get a green lemon, but that's a lime, isn't it? That's a lime, and that says lemon. Who writes the word lemon in green, anyway? Oh, anyway. Well, that's by the by. Back to the album. Let's bunch all of these tracks up there, ladies. Now those, what you got there, are the hits. And that is a hell of a successful career. Well done, Scouting for Girls. Congratulations to you. But the album is not called Hits. It's called Greatest Hits. And that means it has to contain only the greatest of your hits. That means some of your hits have to be discarded. We have to remove the least great hits in order that what remains are the greatest hits. That's obvious, isn't it? It's obvious. The number 40 has to go, doesn't it? I wish I was James Bond, you know, that one. She's so lovely, she's so lovely, that one. That's got to go, hasn't it? But frankly, if you're going to take away a number 40 and leave behind a 37, that's a bit embarrassing, isn't it? I mean, 37-40 is pretty much the same thing, so that should go as well. And really, once you've decided that songs in the 30s aren't making the cut, then I think the 31 has to go just to save a bit of face as well. So let's just take those away and bunch those. And what you've got there is their greatest hits. That is the legitimate greatest hits of Scouting for Girls. And you could start revealing that track listing on social media on a Monday and be done before the weekend. Clearly, what we've worked out is that this album shouldn't be called Greatest Hits. It should be called The Greatest Hits, The Other Hits, The Definitely Not Hits, and 2 songs that we're taking a bit of a punt on, but that probably won't be hits in the end. Incidentally, Did anyone notice anything odd about the artwork on their third studio album? I've already shown it, but there it is. Did anyone notice anything about that? The light between us? Does it look familiar at all? I watch a lot of TV, and you know those adverts that James Nesbitt does for Thomas Cook Holidays? These are the adverts I mean. You've seen them.
My favourite, the Sentido Golf Bar.
Yeah, those adverts. But recently, they've all had the same thing at the end. This.
Happy anniversary.
That was last week.
For perfect Sentido hotels, let's go to thomascook.com at All Protected.
Did you see it? Did you see it? Let me put it in slow motion in case you missed it. Look at this. Look at that. Now, I'm not saying it's exactly the same, but I am saying that you would fall for that on the market, wouldn't you? You'd fall for that, wouldn't you? And they're not the only ones. This is an advert for Heart FM.
So come on.
Yeah, there's Ollie Murs singing it. There he is at the end of the advert doing it with a punter. It's all over adverts. Uniformdating.com.
Dating.com. Everyone needs a hero.
Yeah, it's another one of those phrases that can be taken both ways, isn't it? How was the dating? Very uniform, to be honest with you. Just Peter in a film like all the others. Very, very uniform, frankly. Even Gok Wan started doing it. There he is by himself. There he is doing it with somebody else. This is weird, isn't it? If you think about it, a heart, an actual heart, doesn't really look like that, does it? But this has been the accepted symbolic representation of a heart, and for love and for all that really powerful stuff, for years. If you look it up on Wikipedia and click on Origin, you will see that this version of the heart has been around since the early 14th century. Mankind has had this symbol in its consciousnness for 700 years, and we've only just worked out that we can do that with our hands. We're crying out loud. We worked out the wacky goggles first. How can we work out wacky goggles before that? If you think about it, the first telephone, the first mass-produced telephone that sits on a cradle instead of on a candlestick kind of design, that's been around since 1927. Well, it wasn't very long before we started doing that, was it? And yet it took us 700 years to work this out. Imagine living in a world in which nobody had ever done that. Imagine that. And the first person who's going to do it is going to be a friend of your great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandson. That's what it's like. If you think about it, swans beat us to it, for crying out loud. Swans! Now, we are going to have a short break, but during the break, I want to conduct a little experiment. I need a couple of volunteers, preferably down at the front here. All you have to do is chew some gum during the break. That's all you have to do. It's a very simple thing. Are you up for a bit of gum taking part? You, sir, in the green shirt, you're going for that. Madam, would you like to? Okay, just let's make it easy. So you there, why don't you go for that? I'll tell you why they're doing this when we come back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Modern Life is Goodish, and before the break, I gave 3 sticks of chewing gum to 3 members of our audience for some kind of experiment. And all I really need is just a 1 or 2 word description of what it feels like chewing that gum. So, sir in the green.
Tastes like watermelon.
Tastes like watermelon. Madam? Chewy.
Dusty strawberry.
You're saying strawberry. So watermelon, strawberry, and chewy. And one of you hasn't tried very hard on the description. That's interesting. That's fine. That's okay. The gum I gave you had no branding on it, but it is this. It's called Turbulence. It's 5 gum. This particular iteration is called Turbulence. And this is how they advertise it.
How it feels to chew 5 gum.
Yeah. This is how it feels to chew 5 gum. This is it. This describes the sensation. And not one of you said shitting myself. That is terrifying. That is terrifying. What on earth is that about? How is that a recommendation for some chewing gum? And why is a gum called Turbulence anyway? What positive connotation of turbulence are they reaching for? This is the definition, according to Collins, of the word turbulence. Has anyone ever answered the question, why do you chew gum, with the words, I don't know, I guess I just enjoy the sense of agitation and disorder it gives me? No, they haven't. This is a typical product overstatement. Advertising people love a grand overstatement. This is where superlatives come in. Certain words are used as if they are superlatives all the time. I'm thinking about words like this: luxury, executive, professional, deluxe. These are appended to any old product they like, and presumably the idea is to make us think they're superior. But they've used them so much that they are losing all meaning. I mean, in what sense is that a luxury curly wig? I got this from the pound shop. It cost £1, it's made of nylon, it's a bit scratchy. In what sense is that a luxury? They do them in different colours, by the way. There's the green one. There's the red. And to be honest, I kind of think you've got to admire this company for doing the job properly here, at least. They could have taken just one photo and then photoshopped it to look like it was all the different colours. I've done it myself here just to show you how easy it would be to achieve that. But no, they've done it properly. They've done individual photos each time. Oh, there's the blue. Here's the red. And how much does this chap love the green? Look at that. He loves the green, doesn't he? But it's clearly not a luxury, is it? Of course it isn't, no. And nor is this. Bud Luxury ate his cube duck. They're just pulling words out of a hat, aren't they? Bud Luxury ate his cube duck. I'll tell you the sense in which these things are actually luxuries. It is in the definition of luxury as being non-essential. That is the only definition of luxury that these meet. They are non-essential items. And it doesn't explain this either. Luxury high-vis bomber jacket. That is an actual essential. You don't buy that unless you actually have to get one, do you? And you know how pervasive this idea is. I turned up today, and the producer was the first person I saw when I walked in the building. He said, oh, we've got the luxury dressing room this week. And then I saw someone from makeup, and he went, oh, it's all luxury in your dressing room today. And everyone I met, they all had a little sort of smile and a little sort of wink. And I didn't notice. Muggins here didn't twig what was going on until I got into my dressing room. Look at that. Oh, yeah. I'm living the life. A professional toothbrush. Yeah, well, I've been an amateur brusher for a long time, so I'm just grateful to the gaffer for giving me the opportunity to step up to the big leagues, you know? It's never happened. You can have a professional bath mat, a professional cartoon-style microfiber universal touchscreen glove, and a European-style professional bracelet. In what meaningful way are any of these items professional? Can be a present for your girlfriend/wife, which give them a pleasant surprise. It will give them a surprise if they find out about each other, won't it? Absolutely. I got given this recently, the magic yo-yo. The professional yo-yo for players. The next time you hear someone saying, I'll tell you what, Steve is very professional. Just picture Steve yo-yoing on a green mat wearing a cartoon glove and a steel bracelet. Deluxe scrubbing sponges. 10 for £1. Are you sure? What could possibly motivate them to call those deluxe? I think I know why it is. I think it's because we are idiots. We are more likely to buy them if they're called deluxe. I tested it out tonight with this audience. When you came in tonight, there was a man with a clipboard asking you questions, and one of his questions was, would you like standard or deluxe seating? It's the same chair, it's just for our records. And 76% of you selected deluxe, even though you were told it was the same chair. You're idiots. And I'm feeling a little bit bad about it now because, in a way, we have promised you some kind of deluxe experience. In fact, just a show of hands, who here selected deluxe? Show of hands, who selected standard? You're weirder. Well, I don't know why. That is kind of weirder, isn't it, if you think about it? But I just wanted to know who it was, because I think we are going to provide you with something a bit deluxe. I've got a little present for you all, that, to make it into a deluxe experience. Mary, do you want to come with me? We'll just fetch these in, because we've really gone for it. Can you get through that curtain there? Okay, here we go. That's in here. I know they don't look very deluxe right now. I know they don't look deluxe the way they're stored, but you wait until you see what we have got for you. Look at that. A deluxe experience, ladies and gentlemen. You wanted one, you were deluxe, weren't you? You were deluxe. Tell you what, take a few and pass them on. Take a few and pass them on. Just take a few and pass them on. Take a few. There you go. Help you, go on, get them up. Get them down there, get them down the line. You got some over there. There you go. Just, make sure everyone... You were standard! Give me that sponge back. You were standard, sir. And by the way, there will be standard sponges for those of you who chose standard seats on the way in. Don't worry about that. Now, of course, one of the ways in which we measure superlatives is with awards, isn't it? Yeah? You give awards to the best at something, and then there is a permanent record as to who was the best that year. Now, one of the hotly contested awards every year, of course, is the Celebrity Dad of the Year. Very hotly contested. Lots of publicity for it this year because Simon Cowell was nominated. There he is in the Glasgow Evening Times, and there he is in the Mail Online. He didn't win it, though. It was won by Tom Fletcher from McFly. There he is in the Mirror and on the ITV News website. And it never ceases to amaze me that people get all worked up about things like this. You cast a vote, and all of a sudden that makes you think it must be important. I don't know why it happens. And when people are getting angry about things they shouldn't bother getting angry about, it sets my radar off. I like to head to the bottom half of the internet to see what people are saying, and I like to give those angry people a wider audience for their misplaced passion by taking their comments and turning them into something more beautiful. That's what I've done with this story, ladies and gentlemen. I visited 6 or 7 news sites to see what people were saying, and I've turned some of the comments I found there into something that I like to call a found poem, which I would like to perform for you now. Stop taking the piss. Very clever. Very clever. I thought you were whispering earlier, you cheeky sods. This is the serious bit. I'm going to do it again. It's very earnest. That I like to call a found poem, which I would like to perform for you now. Tom from McFly called his son Buzz. Bad parent. End of. What tosh will they think of next? Celebrity Baby of the Year? Celebrity Dog of the Year? I don't see why not, actually. I certainly know who I'd vote for. Prince George for the baby. And Pudsey for the dog. No, no, no. No, no, no. Celebrities go out and party every night. Good dads spend time with their kids. So how come every year the Dad of the Year award is won by some poxy-sodding celebrity? I'll tell you how come. It's because it is called Celebrity Dad of the Year. It is rigged in their favour from the start. Simon Cowell? You could write what that plonker knows about being a dad on the back of a blinking postage stamp. And knowing Simon, he'll probably do just that. Is this weird? I am a 37-year-old woman, and I often fantasise that Simon is my dad. A good dad can tell you what their kid's favourite cartoon is, or that their daughter likes a banana chopped while their son likes it mashed. I expect all Simon can do is tell you that his son likes a fire-eating juggler, but not a soft shoe shuffle. Bananas should always be chopped. Mashing them is common. This so-called competition is completely meaningless. None of us has a clue as to how they are as parents. They should make it a proper competition and do it in a tent like Bake Off with Melanie and Susan. If I know Tom from McFly as well as I think I know Tommy McFly, then I know that Tom McFly only had this baby so that he could win this award. The truth is that it will be many years before we know which of them was really the best father. When their children are grown-ups, then and only then will we know how they did. But of course, by that time, it will be too late. They'll never do a recount. That is why I never vote in anything, ever. I like hot bananas. I thank you. The Bill Ross String Quartet, ladies and gentlemen. We're right back after this short break. Welcome back to Modern Life is Goodish, ladies and gentlemen, where we have been discussing superlatives. Now, one organisation above all others has dedicated itself to cataloguing life's superlatives, and that is, of course, the Guinness World Records organisation. Indeed, the first American edition of their book was called the Guinness Book of Superlatives. Yeah? Now, as you can see, the book came about because the managing director of the Guinness breweries, a man with the name of Sir Hugh Beaver, I wonder what the staff called him behind his back, went hunting one day and got into a dispute over which was the fastest game bird in Europe. He couldn't find a book that would tell him, and this being the pre-Google 1950s, he couldn't look it up anywhere else, so he decided to create the book on the grounds that there must be numerous other questions debated nightly in pubs. And I think it's worth remembering that that is the original intention of the book, to settle those pub conversations about who is the best, who's the fastest, who's the fattest, the strongest, the smallest, the tallest, the whateverest. And somewhere along the line, I think things have gone awry. This is the website of a man called Ashrita Furman. He holds the Guinness World Record for holding the most Guinness World Records. He has, in time, set something like 533 records, and as I speak to you today, he holds 190 separate records, which is a conundrum in and of itself, because one of his 190 records is holder of the most records. So if someone else comes along and gets 189, they won't be able to take that record from him because he has 190, even though one of them would be for having more than anyone else. So even though they'd have the same number of actual records as him, they'd have one less. So to beat him, they'd have to get to 191 records, at which point you'd immediately have 192 records because you'd now have the most records, and he'd immediately have 189 because he wouldn't. So in beating him by one record, you'd suddenly be 3 ahead. I think. Something like that. Anyway. Now, amongst his many records is, for example, slicing potatoes while hopping on a shovel. And I put it to you, ladies and gentlemen, that there has never been, ever in the world, a pub conversation where someone has wondered aloud, I wonder what the largest number of potatoes to be sliced by someone hopping on a shovel was. I don't think this is what Hugh Beaver had in mind in the 1950s, is it? No one was competing at that. That task has been invented for the purpose of world record gathering. And for that reason, I'm not sure it should really count. I think the internet has made this kind of thing a whole lot worse. If you go to the Guinness World Records website, you'll see a link to a thing called Challenges. And if you click through there, you'll see that it's now possible to break a world record in the comfort of your own home. You can upload a video and become a world record holder. You can pick a challenge that already exists, or you can suggest a new challenge of your own. And people go for it. There is an Italian chap called Silvio Saba who has 40 or 50 records or more, and they all seem to be for things like this. The longest line of M&M pretzel candies lined up in 30 seconds is 42. Now, I'm not saying that didn't take skill. I am saying, who gives a shit? Well, a look at the leaderboard will reveal who gives a shit. And as you can see, it's been a hotly contested record. In fact, there are 3 people in joint first place, all with 42. Except they all turn out to be Silvio Saba. In fact, Silvio Saba occupies 8 of the top 10 positions. An American calling himself Sean 9 is cool is in the other 2. 2 people, one in Italy, one in America, trying to be better at speedy M&M arranging. This isn't about trying to be the best, this is just a transatlantic competition in futility. They all post videos online too, you can see all the videos. Now, I don't want to be picky, but Silvio is clearly not the most professional of cameramen now, is he? He's done that thing, a lot of people do this. You're used to holding your phone vertically, so you film things vertically, but if you think about it, whenever you watch telly or a movie, it's horizontally framed. It works the other way, doesn't it? And that, Silvio's made a fundamental error there. I'm a professional cameraman myself. You know I am. I'll show you something I've shot. There you go. Anyway, let's not dwell. Here, ladies and gentlemen, are some of Silvio Saba's other records. He has the record for the fastest time to sort 25 M&M pretzel candies using chopsticks. He also has the record for the fastest time to sort 30 jelly beans using chopsticks. And he also got the world record for the most marbles moved with chopsticks in 1 minute. Did you spot a theme emerging? Having the record for the fastest time to sort 25 M&Ms and the record for having the fastest time to sort 30 jelly beans is like Usain Bolt having the 100 metres record, as well as the 99 metres record and the 101 metres record. I'm not saying he doesn't have skills. He's good with chopsticks. And he knows what it takes to be a record breaker. It takes dedication, doesn't it? Ooh, dedication. Ooh, dedication. That is what you need. If you want to be the best, and if you want to beat the rest, then dedication is what you need. The only thing is, he's dedicating himself to being the best at something that almost nobody else on earth cares about. I think medication's what he needs. That is why the song didn't say, if you want to be the best, if you want to beat Sean 9 is cool, then dedication's what you need. Guinness have fallen into the trap of thinking that more is better. It isn't. More is messier. If I search online for a quotation nowadays, 9 times out of 10, the site I find first is called Brainy Quote. Now, we all know that a quotation is something that someone said. But there's more to it than that, isn't there? Some pith, some wit, some history, some wisdom. It has to be something you can imagine on a gravestone or a T-shirt or something. Not according to Brainy Quote. Brainy Quote is just full of stuff someone said once. This is a quote from Courtney Cox. Right? Here she goes. One trick I swear by. I pour a little neroli or lavender oil onto a hot towel and use it to wipe off my makeup. It opens up my pores, and then my face cream sinks in better. End of quote. That's just a sentence. They helpfully list the topics that the quote is on, and in this instance, it's better cream, face hot, little makeup, off oil, onto open, pause, swear, then towel, trick up, use and wipe. That's just all of the words rearranged. Nobody has ever wanted to look up what Courtney Cox said on the topic of then, have they? This is another piece of Cox wisdom. It's amazing. Oh, I do get lonely, yes. On the topics of get lonely, oh and yes. I was hoping I'd be able to find Bruce Forsyth quoted as saying, nice to see you, on the topics of to see you nice, but no. It's not there. It's not there. I photoshopped that one. It's not real. Now, obviously, there are what I would think of as proper quotes in here. You just have to wade through treacle to find them, but you will find them if you look. This is very moving for me. This is from a man called Yotam Ottolenghi. I like Yotam Ottolenghi. He's a TV chef, does the Middle Eastern cuisine. I like his stuff. And he has come up with some great wisdom here. This is a lovely quote. He says, I just don't tend to cook eggplant at home. That really touches you, that really gets to me, that, you know, because what it means is that Yotam just doesn't tend to cook eggplant at home. It's become a bit of a motto in my life, really. It's one of those quotes that I use quite a lot, and I didn't really know who'd said it. I've just always said it and thought, God, I hope the person I'm talking to doesn't say, who said that? And I'll look like an idiot. But it is. It's a fact. I've got it on a little poster at home. That's become a bit of a guy. In fact, actually, you know, I showed you that picture of the yo-yo earlier. If I just shift the focus around in that photo, you can see it there. I just don't tend to cook eggplant at home. It's always there. I like to look up at that and just imagine it was the killer whale that said it. It's certainly just as true for the killer whale as it is for me, and indeed for Yotamotalengi. Anyway, my point is, it's the infinite nature of the internet. It's expanded the range of quotations and world records, but for the worse. But there is another kind of record that I'm really not sure about. I'm not sure about the idea of the world record as corporate PR stunt. Okay? This is from a website called ArabianBusiness.com, and as you can see, it's about Coca-Cola. Over 1,000 enthusiasts will attempt to set a new Guinness World Record, brackets Arabic version, whatever that means, for the highest number of people simultaneously opening a Coke bottle in Dubai on Friday. And I like to think that every part of that sentence is the record. It's the record for the most people simultaneously opening a Coke bottle in Dubai on a Friday. It's not, but I like to think it is. I searched for some footage of it. I found some. It's from YouTube. It's not the best quality, but this is the footage.
Congratulations to Coca-Cola and to Dubai for breaking the Guinness World Record for most bottles opened simultaneously.
Now, he says breaking the record there, but I don't think there was a previous record for opening the most bottles simultaneously. Surely they've just made that up, haven't they? I don't think it existed before. I'm pretty sure it didn't, because otherwise he wouldn't go on to say this.
We gave them a target of 500.
We gave them a target of 500. They've broken a record that didn't exist before because someone at Guinness decided arbitrarily that 500 was enough. Now, I think he said broken instead of set the record because he's talking about bottles and he wants to go for a smashed gag. I think that's what's going on. He certainly looks a little bit pleased with himself when it happens.
Which they smashed.
What kind of dedication did that take? How many hours of practice? What level of expertise and skill was on display? If people are able to make these things count as records, well, then I think I might do the same. I'm going to go for it. I am going to go for the record for most pictures of dogs to appear sequentially on the screen of a largely PowerPoint-based TV comedy show. We're going to go for it. Who here likes Guinness? You can adjudicate. I have set myself a target of 10, sir. Okay? Let's see if we can do it. I'm going to go for 10. Tell you what, we'll count them up. We'll start with one, we'll count them up. We need some mood music, a bit of tension music. Hang on. Sorry, no, sorry. Is that on a CD? We've got a string quartet! Can you do what that was doing? Okay. Seriously, this is a world record attempt. Okay, here we go. Let's see if we can do it. 10 dogs in a row. I just stopped concentrating for a minute. You take your eye off the ball. Ashrita Furman, Silvio Saba, Coca-Cola, they would have nailed that. And yes, I do know how ridiculous this is. But ask yourself, is it really more ridiculous than chopping potatoes while jumping on a shovel? No, I don't think it is. But you know what? I do know that modern life is good-ish. Good night.